Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for joining my live stream. I hope you guys have all had a great day. I'm pretty much live right now, so if you guys haven't joined my live stream yet, you certainly can, because I have just gone live, I think. So, it is certainly looking like a good thing. Just wait a few minutes, because I am going to be doing something. So, right now, I'm still, well, let's see here. I'm just making sure everything's good. Okay, yeah, I think I'm good right now. So, yeah. Just making sure everything's going well, making sure nothing's wrong. But yeah. Let's see here. Bryce says hello. Hi there. How are you doing today? Okay. Yeah, well, like I said, I'm just making sure everything's going well. Still kind of had a few issues during my live stream, so I'm just making sure everything's flowing the right way. So, yeah, I'm just waiting for more people to join. Thank you so much for joining. Like I said, it is definitely great. Well, let's see. Just give me 1 second, because I'm still waiting for more people to join. But let's see, just making sure everything's going well. Let's see. Bryce says, "Happy Easter, Happy Easter to you." Glad you told me that. You can let Grandma D know that I am live right now. I did send her a link down in the down on the messages, but I had to make a new one because something was going on. So I should be live now. I should be going the right way. So I hope you are enjoying it. Like I said, thanks for going live with me. That's definitely appreciated as well. Just still waiting for more people to join. Alright, looks like another person joined. Yeah, like I said, I'm still waiting for more people to join my live stream, so we are just going to be waiting a few minutes before we go ahead and get things started. So, yeah. Let's see. Again, Bryce, happy Easter to you. I hope you guys have all had a great Easter so far. We're gonna be talking about something else today. We're gonna be talking about some Easter stuff and things like that before we really get started. So we're gonna go ahead and pull up a few things just to get started. We're gonna go ahead and pull up this one right here. I was just letting you know that we're still waiting for some more people to join before we start the stream here. Just making sure everyone's gonna be around while I'm talking. So yeah, I certainly will be giving you guys some updates today. So. Yeah, well, as I said, we're still waiting for more people to join. We're still waiting for that kind of stuff right here. Just letting my friends know that I am currently live right now. So let's see. But yeah, like I said, it is Easter right now. So let's go ahead and start by talking about the severe weather threats while we're waiting for more people to join. And as you can see for today, we do have a marginal risk for severe weather across portions here of Indiana, portions here of central Illinois, back into parts of Missouri too as well. So we certainly do have a small tornado risk today, just a 2%. So not looking too bad, but it certainly is going to be something to keep an eye on. The wind threat not looking too bad because it's only a 5%, but it is pretty widespread across central and northern parts of Missouri, back through central Illinois, central Indiana, back through parts of southern Ohio into northern Kentucky, and then back through central West Virginia and as well as Virginia. So we do have a pretty decent threat for some winds today, and then the main threat, this is the only thing that's causing the slight risk to get issued, is for hail. Okay, we do have a 15% chance for large hail, and so we do need to be watching for some large hail pretty closely today. So, I mean, it is going to be something to keep an eye on, but if you do live in any of these areas in this yellow, so places like central Indiana, places like Indianapolis, Springfield, central Illinois, back into parts of northeast Missouri, you guys in the yellow color, just be aware of some 1 to 2 inch hail. Shouldn't be anything too crazy because that's really the only threat, but certainly is something that we do need to be watching for, so make sure to keep that in mind if you do live in that area. So yeah, looks like more people are joining. I am gonna say that you guys can leave questions in the chat if you want. It is Easter today, so it's okay if you guys have other plans to do, but I am just doing this because I am trying to keep people updated about how the severe weather is looking like. But well, like I said, guys, we do have a chance for some hail today across portions here of central Indiana, central Illinois, back through northeast Missouri, and then even into a little sliver there of western Ohio, including Cincinnati. Now, what we're really trying to focus on is the enhanced risk, okay? As you can see, we do have an enhanced level 3 out of 5 threat heading from places like Norman and Oklahoma City, back into places like Jefferson City, Springfield, St. Louis, and even into Evansville, Indiana, too, as well. So we certainly do have a pretty big area we need to watch, but if you also live in northeast Oklahoma, back into northwest Arkansas, central and southern Missouri, back into southern Illinois, and as well as a little sliver there of southwest Indiana, including Evansville, like I said, will be in play for some pretty good severe weather as we do head into tomorrow. And if we start taking a look at the hazards now, we will be talking some tornadoes, some decent threats for tornadoes as we do head into tomorrow across southern Indiana, northern Kentucky, southern Illinois, back into central and southern Missouri, and then back into eastern Oklahoma, and back into northwest Arkansas. And then for the wind threat, we do have another threat for some wind, as you can see across the entire enhanced risk. And then hail threat, we do have a hail threat across portions of the enhanced risk, and since there is a hatch risk, that kind of means that there could be some 2-inch hail or greater. Let's see here. Bryce says, will Utah get tornado, or will Utah get a tornado? You guys aren't really in any severe weather threat. It looks like you guys will be at risk for thunderstorms today because you guys do have a general risk for thunderstorms across portions there of Utah and pretty much the entire state of Utah. So you guys aren't at risk for any severe weather, but you certainly could see some thunderstorms as we do head throughout the rest of the day, so something to keep an eye on there. But for tornadoes, not expecting anything severe, so just a couple booms of thunder, and that's really all we're expecting for your area. But well, like I said, looks like on day 2 you won't have any chance for thunderstorms because you see there's no general risk, and then on day 3 there's no general risk for thunderstorms either. But we actually do have an enhanced risk for severe weather across portions here of southern Ohio, southeast Indiana, back into northern Kentucky, and as well as West Virginia will all be in play for some pretty good severe weather as we do head into Tuesday. So the other enhanced risk that I was showing you guys is for tomorrow. Okay, this one's a little bit more concerning because of how big it is, but it looks like Tuesday is also going to be concerning too as well, and that's mainly because we have another enhanced risk across eastern Kentucky, back into southeast Indiana, back into southern Ohio, and as well as West Virginia. And then around that we got that 2%, or at least that 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather, also known as a slight risk. We do have that yellow color heading into Indianapolis or central Indiana, heading into places like Columbus, Ohio, back into southern Pennsylvania, back into Maryland, including Baltimore and Washington, back into northern Virginia, and then all the way back down into places like northeast Mississippi, northern Alabama, and as well as northwest Georgia, and even Tennessee too as well. So we do have some areas that we will also need to be watching as we do head into Tuesday. So if you do live in the enhanced risk on Monday, so I'll go ahead and show you guys that again. If you do live in the enhanced risk on Monday, it is something that we do need to be keeping an eye on, and that's mainly because we certainly do have a pretty good risk for tornadoes. We got a pretty good risk for damaging winds especially, and like I said, pretty good risk for some large hail too as well. So something to keep an eye on as we head into tomorrow. But something else I forgot to tell you guys was that we used to have a 10% tornado risk across portions here of this area. And so what's concerning about this, I'm going to go ahead and draw where the 10% was. The 10% tornado risk was pretty much in this area right here, and so the Storm Prediction Center actually doesn't have that issued anymore. Okay, they don't have that issued anymore, meaning that things might have changed with the models, but from what we know so far, it certainly looks like a few things could have changed. So it is looking alright, especially because the tornado downgraded, but I do think another 10% tornado risk could get issued because the models are still really showing some really good chances for some severe weather and tornadoes, you know. So I do think a 10% tornado risk might get issued across portions here of this area, so that is something to certainly keep in mind. So we certainly will be watching for that. And then we aren't sure about the day 3 outlook yet because we don't have any hazards issued, and they can't even issue hazards on day 3. So it doesn't look like we'll know about tomorrow, or doesn't look like we'll know about Tuesday till we do head into tomorrow. So we will have to be waiting for that. Excuse me, but we certainly will be needing to be watching for some pretty good severe weather. You know, we certainly will be needing to watch. But let's go ahead and look at the models now. We're going to be looking at these to help us figure out if the Storm Prediction Center needs to either extend the threat for severe weather or, you know, do any of that stuff. So we're first going to look at significant tornado parameter, and for how this thing is looking like, as you can see, significant tornado parameter is actually kind of decent, you know, pretty good, 8 out of 10 across portions here of northwest Arkansas, meaning that that's really, like I said, that's a really high chance for tornadoes right there. An 8 out of 10. It's kind of like saying an 8 out of 10 chance of tornadoes, but for the most part, it is looking like we certainly will need to be watching these areas pretty closely. But even southwest Indiana and even southern Illinois will be a few more areas that we do need to be watching for too as well. Let's look at the 8RRR model now, okay, and let's see what it wants to show. And it actually wants to show quite a bit of supercell composite. So, as you can see, or significant tornado parameter, either one, but as you can see, it actually does want to show a little bit more in the way of tornado probabilities, especially down here in western Kentucky, which kind of concerns me a little bit because that's where the because that isn't where the 10% tornado threat was. So like I said, that kind of does concern me a little bit, but we certainly will need to be watching those areas. And so I think this whole area right here, I know it doesn't show significant tornado parameter across that area, but I do think a 10% tornado risk could certainly get issued for those areas right here. And looks like some of you guys might be leaving the live stream, which is fine. Like I said, if you guys have any plans, you don't necessarily have to stay the whole time. But if you want to, you certainly can, though. So I hope you guys are able to stick around because that definitely helps out a lot. But if we look at the supercell composite, just look at that. Wow, dude. Cause like I said, this really concerns me because the 10% tornado risk, we're gonna go back to day 2 to really show you guys this, is because the 10% tornado risk was not across western Kentucky. And look, western Kentucky isn't even in an enhanced risk, and the latest tornado risk was mainly across this area right here. And look, western Kentucky just wasn't in that greatest risk for tornadoes, and we're already starting to see that across western Kentucky. So like I said, this is quite concerning, okay? This is quite concerning for what we are seeing. So this is going to be something that we do need to keep an eye on. But let's go ahead and look at another model now. This is the RAP model, or the RAP model, and it actually wants to show a little bit more in the way of significant tornado parameters throughout times of the day. So instead of showing it later or at the end of the model run, it wants to show it a little bit earlier, to where now it wants to show, a little bit of that 1 to 2 or 1.5 significant tornado parameter, which, is shown across portions here of, Missouri and things like that. So we definitely will need to be watching this. Looks like you guys have just joined. Let's see. John says hello. Hello, John. Thanks for joining my live stream. I'm glad you were able to get to it. I'm just going to say that there was something going on earlier today, or at least a few minutes ago. So that's why I had to cancel that stream and make a new one that was exactly the same, because I was going to be talking about the same stuff. But it turns out I had to make a new one because, like I said, something was going on. So you probably also realize this was a new one too as well. So yeah. Let's see. Yeah. So, like I said, significant tornado parameter seems to be a little bit higher, or at least a little bit earlier on this small run, as you can see. So it certainly is something that we do need to keep an eye on. So, like I said, this is pretty concerning for what we're already seeing so far, and so this is certainly going to be something to keep an eye on, like I said. But if we look at the instability, which we haven't taken a look at yet, it actually wants to show some pretty high instability too as well. Look at that, over 1,000 joules per kilogram across a pretty big area. And let's go ahead and choose a section and see what it wants to show. And for what it shows, let's see, it says severe. So that does not mean a tornado. I mean, that can mean a tornado, but it doesn't 100% mean a tornado. So it just means that damaging winds and large hail could be possible across, southwest Indiana and even a few other areas too as well. But let's go back to the 8RRR model and see and see what's happening right now. But let's see here. John says, will we get tornadoes here? I think we will, because if we go back to the day 2 outlook, we do have an enhanced level 3 out of 5 threat for tornadoes across portions here of Oklahoma heading into southwest Indiana, including Evansville. So this is definitely going to be a pretty big event. So if you do live in this enhanced risk, you certainly should take this pretty serious, my friend. This is definitely a pretty big deal for sure. But something else that I wanted to let you know too as well, and it looks like you just joined, so I don't know if you heard this, but I was saying that we did have a 10% tornado risk across this entire area right here, including Evansville again, like I said. But it turns out they got rid of that, and I'm pretty sure they got rid of it because things might change on the models, or they're really not sure where the 10% tornado risk should go. So I do think they are going to reissue that, especially because taking a back look at the HRRR models, we're going to go back to significant tornado parameter, and like I said, look at Western Kentucky. That's kind of why I think that tornado risk could certainly extend back into southwest Indiana and as well as northern Kentucky, like I said, but could also include more areas too as well. So it really just depends on how the models keep wanting to play out, but for the overall pattern, it looks like tornadoes are going to be a concern for us. Okay, we will definitely be in somewhat a tornado threat as we do head tomorrow. We just don't know if we'll be in a 10% or not, especially because they already gotten rid of that. But yeah, like I said, this will be something to keep an eye on. You might want to take this pretty serious, okay? Not gonna lie, this will be something that we need to take pretty serious. But if we go back to the NAM model, wow. Okay, wow. Did you just see that? Look at that, guys. The NAM model actually wants to show that significant tornado parameter a little bit farther to the north. And let's choose a sounding across portions here of southern Indiana. And if we go ahead and hold it, it will tell us what we could expect as we do head into tomorrow. Look at that. Potential hazard is a tornado, which makes sense because we do have quite a bit of instability in the atmosphere. Because if we go to the instability, as you can see, really high instability, by the way, with pretty much over 2,000 joules per kilogram, which is a lot. So that is definitely some pretty good tape right there across portions here of southern Indiana, western Kentucky, and southern Illinois. Let's see here. Bryce says, will children be safe to play outside today in Georgia? Well, for Georgia, we're going to go ahead and go to the National Weather Service advisory display to give you a good idea. And Georgia does not have any weather alerts right now. They might have some hazardous outlooks in some of the areas, which doesn't mean like the weather's going to be really bad, but it just gives you a good idea on what you could expect throughout the day. And I have to wait for this to load again, but we're going to go ahead and click on Georgia again. If this will load, if this will even load, I can tell you. Okay, thankfully it's actually still loading. Just wait 1 second. I'm kind of concerned on why it's taken so long to load, but something else I do want to say too as well is that Georgia will actually be in a severe weather threat as we do head into day 3, which will pretty much be on Tuesday. So on Tuesday in west Georgia, they do have a slight risk for severe weather, and like I also said, they haven't issued the probabilities yet, so we're not really sure what Georgia is really going to be expecting, but yeah. And let's see, it finally loads. So it looks like Georgia won't be in play for anything too crazy because, as you can see, there's actually no hazardous outlooks or anything like that. So Georgia looks to be a really good place to be right now, especially because there's nothing too crazy. And if we click on Atlanta or either one, as you can see, partly cloudy right now. So Georgia's looking pretty good, okay? So if you have children in Georgia, that's great. They look to be able to play outside, especially because there's not even one alert in parts of Georgia. So the entire state of Georgia is looking amazing, okay? But we're going to go back to the enhanced risk, which is what we're concerned about right now. And like I said to you, John, we certainly will be in for some pretty good tornadoes, especially because, there is a really good tornado risk, a 5% chance for tornadoes across portions here of, southern Indiana, northern Kentucky, and back into parts of Oklahoma. So, like I said, pretty big area to certainly keep an eye on. We certainly will need to be watching this pretty closely, so I do hope you are ready and prepared for some pretty good tornadic activity. But if you want, you can keep leaving questions in the chat. I'll get to them in like a few minutes or so. So if you want, you can keep chatting, but we're going to go back to the model to figure out what we can really expect. So if we look at another model run, we actually do have some pretty good instability using the GEM RDPS model or the GEM RDPS model, either one. This model does want to show some pretty good instability across this entire area. So it doesn't look like I can grab a sounding with this, but it certainly does look like this is going to be concerning for a lot of these areas. So places like southwest Indiana, southern Illinois, Missouri, back into Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and even Kentucky will all be in play for tornadic activity as we do head into tomorrow. So if you do live in any of those states, you might want to have your tornado action plan in place, because that is something important, especially if you do live in this 5% tornado threat, which does include all the states that I just told you. But yeah, like I said, you guys can keep leaving questions in the chat, and I'll certainly get to them. But we haven't looked at another model actually yet, so we're going to go ahead and look at this one. And for what this one's showing, it looks like this one is actually wanting to show not as crazy as CAPE, but still some really good CAPE at the end of the model run. 'Cause look at that, almost 2,000 joules per kilogram of CAPE right there. So that's a lot, okay? That's a lot of CAPE. And with the significant tornado parameter, geez. Wow. Yeah, I mean, for what this one is showing, this one's showing some really good significant tornado parameter up to the north, across the southern half of Indiana. But even back here into places like northern Kentucky, even Evansville, all have a really good significant tornado parameter. So pretty much as high as 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10 looks to be the main concern for all of southern Indiana. So that is very concerning right there, not gonna lie. And if we grab a sounding with this one, it looks like we can, so we're gonna go ahead and grab a sounding with this one and see what we can expect. Again, just gotta wait for this to load. Let's see, I'm going to grab a sounding again just to see if it will upload faster. Okay, never mind. It actually did upload, and it's actually looking like the potential hazard is still a tornado, which does make sense because of how high it really is. But let's see, we're going to grab another sounding with this one. So, looks like there's this little tiny area right here. We're going to grab a sounding with this one. And let's see what this one shows, because this one is actually a little bit higher using the significant tornado parameter. But let's see here. John says, is the weather gonna stay nice? For today, yes, especially because it is sunny outside. But for, the next couple of days, looking like we will have some chances for severe weather, especially tomorrow. But wow. Yeah, wow, look at that, guys. When I clicked the sounding up here across places like, the southern half of Indiana, look what it shows, PDS tornado. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but that indicates possible dangerous situation. So that is massive. Like, I mean, that is just a really big deal right there when you're talking a PDS tornado, which, like I said, indicates possible dangerous situation. And so, like I said, since the significant tornado parameter is so high across, all of southern Indiana, that is just looking to be pretty concerning, like I said. And even the supercell composite is actually pretty high too as well, maybe even worse than the significant tornado parameter. So like I said, this is looking to be pretty concerning for a lot of these areas. And so that's another reason why I do think this tornado threat could still extend into southwest Indiana, or if it were to get issued, I do expect it to extend into southwest Indiana, and to where it includes, Evansville, even up there towards Bloomington, and then down there maybe towards Henderson, Kentucky. All those areas could certainly be in for some pretty good tornado warnings as we do head into tomorrow. So yeah, we certainly do need to be watching it for sure. This is definitely looking like a big deal out here. But let's also use the GFS model, because it's also pretty good with things like that, And with the GFS model, let's see, we're going to go ahead and click a sounding, because supercell composite still is pretty high and even pretty decent across some of these areas. And yeah, it actually looks like main concern is still to be a tornado across portions here of Indiana. So, like, we're pretty much getting to the point where I really do think an extend of that 10% tornado risk will get issued. So like I said, this is looking to be a pretty big concern for southern Illinois and as well as Indiana too as well. So this is looking like the Storm Prediction Center must extend that tornado risk. And I think if they do issue the tornado risk, it will be across this area right here. So I'm pretty sure it will be something like this if it does get issued, to where it includes Evansville, Louisville, and then back up there towards Bloomington. So like I said, this is going to be a pretty big concern for sure, guys. Like, I really think they do need to reissue that 10% hatch risk, which indicates that EF2 tornadoes or greater are possible. So that's the reason why I think they do need to issue that, is because of how high the significant tornado parameter is, because, like, going back to the NamUs model, I'm pretty sure that's the model I was using. We're going to go back to significant tornado parameter, and yeah, like I said, wow. Yeah, like I said, all models are really showing that. And look at that, guys. Holy, my goodness. That is even more concerning. Look at that, a 10 out of 10 right there. Or literally over a 10 out of 10. So that, wow. Like, again, that's really high significant tornado parameter right there. That is not looking good. But, yeah, so... yeah, like I said, this is looking to be a massive concern for Indiana, Western Kentucky, Southwest Indiana, getting into Ohio. So, guys, this is looking to be a pretty dangerous and bad threat for severe weather. So I'm not gonna lie about that. It's looking like could certainly be a big deal right here. So we will be keeping an eye on. Models are likely to change as we do head into tomorrow, so I will look at those. And like I said, I do expect that tornado risk to be extended into portions here of Indiana. That 10% hatch risk, or even get issued for Indiana, to where now it will include, all that area right there. So we do need to certainly be watching for that for sure, guys, especially because it does really, the models really want to show that CAPE instability and all that ingredient getting so high that the significant tornado parameter is also high. So, we certainly will need to be watching out for all of this for sure. We really do. But let's see. Yeah. So as I said, I don't know if my live stream will be as long as last time. I'm just gonna say that I don't think my live stream's gonna be as long as last time, but we are still going to be talking about severe weather and questions. And if you have a question about severe weather, you can leave them in the chat if you want. But yeah. So, just another look at the enhanced risk for Tuesday will be across portions here of Ohio, so pretty much southern Ohio, western West Virginia, getting into pretty good portion of the eastern half of Kentucky, and the back into southeast Indiana will be in play for some pretty good tornadoes, wind, and hail, and all those things, like I said. So certainly is an area that we do need to be watching as we do head into tomorrow, this entire area. But the entire area we're watching, I didn't mean like just that area, but like this entire area right here, including the green, will be the area that we do need to be watching for severe weather in, okay? Just all of this green showing up right there will be the area to watch for. And so, you know, Cincinnati, Louisville, Pikeville, Lexington, Charleston, getting into maybe Columbus if this doesn't get extended, but also almost Bowling Green too as well. So all these areas are looking like they're going to be in severe weather as we do head into Tuesday, but these areas pretty much west of this line, so areas west of this line right here will be in the threat for tomorrow. Let's see here. John says, how has your Easter been? It's been good. We haven't really been doing much so far, but it's been good. Okay, it's been pretty fun so far, especially when doing my live stream. So yeah, it certainly has been good so far. We just haven't been doing much. But yeah. So if we go ahead and go back to the models, we're going to take a look at just a few more. These models aren't really the best, but we're going to go ahead and take a look at these few models right there. We're going to choose the Central Great Plains, and this one does want to show a 100% chance of 500 joules per kilogram or greater. The probability of 1,000 joules per kilogram is also pretty high too as well. But what about 2,000 though? 2,000, it looks like there's only a small chance of that. So yeah, like I said, these models aren't really the best, but they will at least tell you the percent chance of Cape getting that high. And if we look at this one looks to do something slightly different, and as you can see, this one actually wants to show at least a decent chance for some 1,000 joules per kilogram or Cape, with the mean supercell composite, which kind of means the present tense supercell composite at that time, is going to be, you know, this orange color right here. 4 out of 35 is a little bit high, still considered low for sure though. So it is certainly looking like this still looking to be a little bit concerning overall. But yeah. But if you do have any more questions to leave in the chat, you certainly can leave any questions you want to. Just make sure they're respectful and make sure to respect the live stream. But like I said, if you do have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat and I will certainly answer those. But we certainly almost took a look at all the models. The models that most concern me is the NAM model, because like I said, significant tornado parameter is really high across portions here of southern Indiana, you know. But even with the RAP model, this one actually wants to show some pretty good, you know, Cape, and as well as significant tornado parameter across portions here in Missouri. But even with the HRRR model wants to show some pretty good of that too as well. So all models do want to show some pretty good significant tornado parameter coming in, like I said, and this is definitely going to be a pretty big concern right here. Like I said, this is definitely gonna be a pretty big concern, so we certainly have to be watching things pretty closely. Okay, we certainly will need to be watching. But yeah, So, like I said, we already took a look at all the models, but I'm just rechecking each of them just to make sure we didn't skip anything, and no, don't look like we have yet. So, yeah, so definitely something, well, like I said, to keep an eye on. So we certainly will need to be watching things pretty closely, but it looks like the NAM model started showing a little bit something different. So instead of showing high significant tornado parameter across this area, now it wants to show even more of that over here. But even though the significant tornado parameter is low, it doesn't mean you won't see tornadoes, okay? Because if we click on this again, even though the NAML changed to only a 2 now, even though it used to show, almost a 5, look at that still, tornado. So that definitely means that even though the significant tornado parameter might seem low, tornadoes are still extremely possible, okay? I'm not going to lie, they're still very possible, even if the significant tornado parameter is pretty low. And the significant tornado parameter isn't the only things you should be looking at. You should also be looking at, CAPE and all that kind of stuff, because let's actually go ahead and use this. So if we go to the part where it shows the most CAPE, let's see, where did it show the most CAPE? It looks like it shows the most CAPE at this time right here. So as you can see, we got almost 2,000 joules per kilogram. And if we look at the wind speed in each part of the atmosphere, we got enough wind shear in the very upper part of the atmosphere. The mid-level one looks like it's a little bit slower, but still enough. It looks like the low-level atmosphere is looking to be a little bit calm, but it's still enough to cause maybe a tornado or two. And dew points look to be in the 70s. Oh my gosh. I mean, I haven't looked at this yet, but geez, 70-degree dew points are definitely going to play a role on this, okay, for sure. Dew points this high are definitely going to be able to really feel those thunderstorms, that is definitely looking to be a really big and massive concern right there. Is the dew points. Could just look at all that, like, that is just crazy. But yeah, well, if we look at another one, so let's see, 1,000 joules per kilogram, and if we go ahead and look at the wind shear again, looks like we will have more widespread wind shear in the upper part. Looks like it comes down quite significantly as we do get a little bit lower. But if we look at the dew points again, yeah, I mean, 60-degree dew points at that time, geez, that's pretty good, not gonna lie. But if we go ahead and go to this time right here, let's see, yeah, this time right here, as you can see, 70-degree dew points. And if we go back to CAPE, it looks like we won't have as much CAPE, which kind of concerns me a little bit. But as long as you see 60-degree dew points, you'll definitely be in for some severe weather. And as you can see, it actually does show 60-degree dew points. So 60-degree dew points, almost 2,000 joules per kilogram of CAPE in some areas. It looks like supercell composite, and as well as significant tornado parameter does look to be a little bit high in some areas. So yeah, it looks like we've been live for quite a while so far. I will continue to be live for probably another 20 minutes or so. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat. I will be live for the next 10 to 20 minutes to answer more questions. So if you haven't left questions already, you can do it if you want. But yeah, so I'm going to go back to the severe weather threats, and I'm just going to be waiting for you guys to answer questions, and that's what I'm going to start doing. Or you can even leave your zip code if you want to as well, and I will certainly answer those. But like I said, you can go ahead and leave questions if you haven't already, or you can leave more questions if you want to as well. Even if you have asked me a question, you can still keep leaving more questions in the chat if you want to, which is fine. But if you haven't left a question already, go ahead and do it now before I end my stream in about 20 minutes because I will be live to answer anybody's questions. But yeah, so like I said, if you're now just joining, we do have 2 enhanced risk for severe weather, like I've been talking about throughout the live stream, and it looks like a bunch of people have joined still, so which kind of tells me that I should be live for maybe another few minutes or so. But like I said, if you're now just joining, you guys can go ahead and leave questions in the chat. And we've been talking about these 2 enhanced risk for severe weather during the last part of the live stream, or at least during the early part of the live stream. So feel free to leave questions in the chat if you haven't already. And if we go ahead and look back at the model run, again, that NAM model still concerns me quite a bit, and I'm not lying about that. It actually is looking quite concerning for how things are looking like, and so we certainly will be needing to be watching for maybe a possible extend of, that 10% tornado risk. But yeah. So if we go ahead and look at the NAM model, this isn't like the NAM model, but this is the NAM-IST model, and as you can see, this actually still concerns me quite a bit. Look at all that. Again, wow. Yeah, that was really high significant tornado parameter right there across portions there of Ohio. So like I said, that is going to be a pretty big event, not going to lie. But yeah, like I said, if you're now just joining, or if you haven't answered questions yet, you can go ahead and feel free to leave questions in the chat if you haven't already, because I will certainly be live for the next 20 minutes or so. So if you haven't left questions already, or if you want to leave questions in the chat, go ahead and do it while I am still live. But yeah, so if we go back and look at the HRRR model again, this actually still concerns me quite a bit, because the HRRR model does want to show quite a bit of, all that significant tornado parameter. So we are still going to be watching pretty closely for, tornadoes, damaging winds, and large hail, and all this enhanced risk, especially damaging winds and large hail, especially because these are what's going to be the main concern, at least for right now. But tornado threat, like I said, I do think the tornado threat will either get extended or added. So this 5% will probably get extended into more of these areas. Let me go ahead and draw that again. It will probably be getting extended into these areas over here. But the 10% tornado threat, if it gets added, I think it will include the same areas. I'm not totally sure, but I do think it could include the same areas, and it could even head all the way down towards Oklahoma City, So we certainly will be watching for that. But like I said, you can go ahead and leave questions in the chat if you haven't already. We will certainly be keeping you guys updated on how these things are looking like. But if you do live in the enhanced risk, which I haven't told you guys for a little bit, if you do live in the enhanced risk, you're gonna want to take this quite serious, okay? Especially because we do have a good threat for damaging winds and large hails, especially across Tulsa, Oklahoma, up there towards Springfield, but places like Evansville could still certainly be in play for some pretty good tornadoes and damaging winds. But yeah. So, like I said, guys, I will still be live for probably the next 10 minutes. I'll be live till at least 4 o'clock if you want. But if you guys keep joining and sticking around, I will certainly be live. But I will be just waiting if you guys want to ask any questions. But anyway, you might have saw like a little something there, glitching or whatever, but that was pretty much just my computer doing something right there. I'm not really sure what it was, but it was certainly like a little glitch, or something right there. But yeah, like I said, I will be live for the next 10 minutes, or if any of you guys are sticking around, I will certainly keep being live if you guys want. But if you guys haven't left questions already, go ahead and do it. Or if you haven't gotten any chance to answer questions, you can also go ahead and do it too as well. But yeah, so we certainly will need to be watching tomorrow, and we also will need to be watching day 3 too as well. And so I think the main concern for tomorrow will be tornadoes. So I do think the entire enhanced risk will have a 5% tornado risk across this entire area, and then I think there could be an embedded 10% chance for tornadoes across this area right here. So this one right here is a 5%, so pretty much that entire circle right there, as you can see, and then this one right here is a 10%. So this is what we are going to be watching for as we do head into tomorrow, at least from what we can see right now. So we certainly will need to be watching it pretty closely. Okay, we will need to be watching it pretty closely. So yeah. So like I said, I will still be live if you haven't gotten to my live stream yet, or if you haven't left any questions, or if you want to answer, or if you want to leave questions in the chat, go ahead and do it now while I am still live. So we're going to go ahead and look at the excessive rainfall outlook. I actually forgot to show you guys that. And the concern with the National Weather Service excessive rainfall outlook, I'm searching for it right now, is that we actually do have a slight risk for flash flooding on day 2. And look at this. This includes all of Indiana, at least the southern half of Indiana, getting into extreme northern portions of Kentucky, back through parts of Ohio, but also southern Illinois and central Illinois, back into southern and central Missouri, and then into southeast Nebraska, or not Nebraska, sorry about that, or southeast Kansas rather, and then northeast Oklahoma. So yeah, those will be areas to be watching for. And then on day 2, or at least on day 3, we do have another risk for flash flooding, not across the enhanced risk that we have on Tuesday, but certainly in some other areas. And then on day 4, we got another risk, and then on day 5, it doesn't look like we have a risk issued yet, but we could certainly have one. We'll just have to watch. But yeah, like I said, I will be live for maybe the next few minutes or so. So if you haven't left questions in the chat already, you can go ahead and do that. I certainly will stay live for still quite a while. And if you guys want to answer questions, go ahead and answer now. But yeah, so don't look like many of you guys are sticking around. So and my nose is kind of runny too as well. So I'm glad you guys did have fun on my live stream. It looks like another one of you guys joined. I'm getting ready to end my stream pretty soon, probably in about the next 8 minutes or so. So if you have any questions that you want to quickly leave, or if you want to keep answering questions, go ahead and leave them in the chat. But yeah, so something else I want to quickly show you guys before we end this stream. This is something I didn't have to show you, but this is something I do want to show you, is that we do have some thunderstorms that are going to be coming on Monday. So if we look at the European model, this is the only model I can use to look at this, by the way. We're going to go ahead and play this out to see how things could certainly be playing out. And as you can see, things do certainly look like they are going to be starting off during the day on Monday, as you can see right there. I don't know if you can see the line, but as you can see, as we head into Monday, look at all those thunderstorms already starting to roll through some of these areas. That is definitely looking concerning, with even some more thunderstorms rolling through. So it does look to be quite eventful for sure, okay? I'm just saying that it does look to be quite eventful. We also haven't looked at the Cape with the European model yet, so we're going to go ahead and look at the Cape and see what the European model wants to show, and I assume it actually shows some pretty high Cape too as well. So if we go back towards Monday, we're going to go ahead and play this again, and let's see what it shows. So yeah, some pretty decent Cape right there. You don't need a whole lot, but it does show at least around 600 joules per kilogram. Looks like it still shows some pretty good Cape right there, but even some more Cape moving through as well. So it does show some decent Cape, not as crazy as the other models, but still some decent Cape out there. So yeah, it certainly is looking concerning for the overall models. And like I said, I am gonna be ending my stream pretty soon, so if you haven't left questions, or if you want to leave questions in the chat, you can. So feel free to do that if you haven't already, or you can even do that if you have. Just leave more questions if you need to. But yeah, so this is a really long model too as well. So this is pretty much the CFS V2 model, and this one shows some long range Cape. So it shows how Cape could be looking like in the way future, and it does show some pretty good, Cape values in the future, but this isn't really the best model to go off of for that. And this is extremely far out. This goes all the way out to the end of April. Isn't that just really far out? But this also goes all the way out to the beginning of May. So well, like I said, this isn't really the model you should be taking a look at, but this certainly is something to take a look at if you are curious to see what could be going on in the future. And so it certainly does want to show some pretty good Cape values, so we certainly will be needing to watch for that. Looks like it also has a supercell composite option, so let's go ahead and see what that wants to show right there. And not really showing very much, not really. Maybe some pretty good values over here across places like Texas and as well as Arkansas, but for the most part it certainly is looking like it doesn't really show very much. But it looks like we are getting close to 4, so like I said, if you haven't left questions already, go ahead and quickly leave them. If you want to answer more questions, or if you want me to answer more questions, go ahead and leave them now, because I am getting ready to end my stream pretty soon here. But yeah, so if you guys, it looks like a bunch of you guys joined, so, like I said, like a few minutes ago, I might be getting ready to end my stream, but it looks like more of you guys joined now. So if you, are new here, we were talking about the enhanced level 3 out of 5 threat for severe weather, so I gotta go ahead and search for that again. And as you can see, this does still show an enhanced risk for severe weather across portions here of Indiana and as well as Ohio. So pretty decent area, like I said. But yeah, so certainly is looking like something that we do still need to be keeping an eye on. But yeah, so it looks like it is almost 4 o'clock. Thank you guys so much for joining my live stream. I hope you guys did like it and enjoy it. So I will continue to keep you guys posted. I might do another live stream tomorrow, especially because we might need to do some weather coverage as we head into tomorrow. So I might go live tomorrow, but I can't be sure about that yet because we still have to be seeing how it goes. But if there's a big risk for severe weather tomorrow, like if a 10 hatch risk for tornadoes get issues, I might go live, but we'll see. Okay, we'll see. I may not. But yeah, so thank you guys very much for watching my live stream. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. I know I haven't done as long as a live stream as I did last time, but I am certainly live for today. So if you want to watch my live stream, you probably could have watched it later, but for what's going on right now, it looks like we are gonna end it. So again, guys, thank you guys very much for watching my live stream. If you haven't liked and subscribed already, make sure to go ahead and like and subscribe. That is definitely important to me. So if you haven't liked and subscribed already, make sure to do